No, life is important. Life is important. When I say life, I am not talking about your family, your work, what you do not do, your party. I'm not talking about that as life. This is life, isn't it? Life is within you or around you. The ambience of life, you're mistaking the ambience of life for life. Your home, your family, your workspace, your party, this is all ambience of life. This is not life, isn't it? Yes or no? You're mistaking the ambience for the real thing. No. Life is important because it's the only thing you know. You don't know anything else. Do you know something else? Rest is all imagined stuff, isn't it? The only thing is that this is beating and alive, and that's all there is.
I think I just want to quickly stop right there. And firstly, he says, this is life. I'm not understanding what he means by this, right? Like when you're saying… Yeah, the physical, like what are you supposed to do with that information? And Allah says, like, we would agree with the first part of what he said about that your workspace, your party, these are not the purpose of life. Allah says, زُيِّنَ لِلنَّاسِ يُحِبُّ الشَّهَوَاتِ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ وَالْبَنِينَ وَالْقَنَاطِيرِ الْمُقَنطَرَةِ مِنَ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ. Like Allah has provided us, like He knows that we have that weakness of women, children, nice rides like cars, horses, etc., and money, hoards of wealth. These are things that are inherent to humans, and this is something that we want. We are created with that weakness for the material world, and this is why Allah has created all these things for us. Not to overly indulge in, but so that we can enjoy to a good extent, but to use them in remembrance of Him and to use that for good.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned something very important, and that's the verse about what the things we love about this life, right? And we somewhat agree with some of what Sadhguru is saying, right? It's not all just in full disagreement. But I would just add to that and say, yes, so in Islam, we say, there's a verse in the Quran, I believe in Surah Al-Kahf, الْمَالُ وَالْبَنُونَ زِينَةُ الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَالْبَاقِيَاتُ الصَّالِحَاتُ خَيْرٌ عِنْدَ رَبِّكَ ثَوَابًا وَخَيْرٌ أَمَلًا, I believe. And that's, yes, we are attracted to wealth and children and all these kind of things in this world, and the hereafter is what we really need to be looking at. The hereafter, what happens the hereafter, it's the long-lasting, it's forever, this world is temporary. However, what Sadhguru here is saying is that if you follow religion, then you don't care about this life. This life is meaningless and purposeless. And although I say there is an element of truth to this, there are hadiths that talk about this. Even in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, بَلْ تُؤْثِرُونَ الْحَيَاةَ الدُّنْيَا وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. We're so infatuated and obsessed with this life, this dunya, وَالْآخِرَةُ خَيْرٌ وَأَبْقَى. But the hereafter is better for you, and it's forever. But Allah also says in the Quran, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيا. Don't forget your portion in this world. In Islam, we're not taught to isolate from life and from the world and live our lives in isolation. No, you have to be a productive member of society. So when it comes to talking about purpose, as Muslims, we believe Islam tells us that life is a balance. The purpose of a Muslim, my purpose, my ultimate purpose, since Sadhguru is not defining the word purpose, my ultimate purpose is to be a good Muslim and to go to heaven, to Jannah, to paradise in the hereafter. So this life becomes very important. Why? Because this life is your currency for the hereafter. The deeds you do in this life determines if you go to paradise in the hereafter. So this life is very important. How you live this life is very important because it is your ticket to either heaven or hell.
And I think I would just add one of the hadiths which I came across, where it said, it was narrated from Anas ibn Malik, that there was a group of companions of the Prophet, and one of them said, I will not marry women, and the other one said, I will not eat meat. Another one said, I will not sleep on a bed, and the last one said, I will fast and I will not break my fast. Now, this news came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said, what is the matter with the people who say such and such a thing? Because he says, I pray and I sleep. I fast and I break my fast. I marry women. Whoever turns away from my sunnah is not from me. So we can see that in the Islamic tradition, according to the Quran and the Sunnah, it is not, you're not being told to completely reject this life. You're told, as Brother Muhammad said, وَلَا تَنْسَ نَصِيبَكَ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Do not neglect your portion of this life. It is something we can enjoy, but it's not something we should fully strive towards, because it is it's something that's temporary, and what is with Allah is eternal. وَمَا عِنْدَ اللَّهِ خَيْرٌ وَأَبَقَى. Right? What is with Allah, the punishment and the reward, which is with Allah, is going to be eternal, and that's something what we should live our life for. So let's move on.
Just one last thing I just wanted to add, actually. And it's just because some people might be watching this video and they might not have as much knowledge about Islam. And that is one of the beautiful things about Islam, is it's not simply just a faith, a belief, and that's it. In Islam, we believe in faith and in action. Countless times in the Quran, you'll see الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Those who believe and have done good actions and deeds. They go hand in hand. So as practicing Muslims, when you practice Islam, you practice it in all aspects of your life. We do not isolate from this world. So that includes treating your parents well. That includes maintaining your ties of kinship. That includes things like working and making money from a halal source, from halal activities, of course, things that are permissible. Getting married, having kids, and fulfilling the rights and obligations of a husband and wife, and father and mother. All of these are part of being Muslim. And of course, praying, fasting, giving charity. Islam is a way of life, faith, and action. So this life is important. However, it's important keeping the main purpose of life in mind, and that is for the hereafter.